What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. 400 Legend testing again. We've been taking a lot of cool projectiles, putting them through gel, seeing what happens. 400 Legend's not even really released as a firearm and ammunition right now, but T2 Armory was messing around. You might know them from the 500 Bushwhacker project. What they did is they made a SAMMI spec upper. They've taken 6.5 Carcano brass and made 400 Legend, 99.9% 400 Legend brass out of it, so that we can load it up and do whatever we want with it. Since Winchester's not putting it out for us to mess with, we're gonna do it for them. So today's offering, that we're offering, now nobody else is offering it, is actually we're not even offering it. This is just for fun, like I said. Remember, this will never be for sale. This round, this brass, this upper, none of this is for sale. This magazine, none of it. This is just for fun. So XRG by S&B, we took the bullet out of a 10mm out of that box and we put it into a 400 Legend cartridge. We packed it with the appropriate amount of powder that we think, and we're gonna see how fast we can get it going through the chronograph and then into that gel block. We just did a video on this ammunition, shooting it like a regular 10mm out of 2 different handguns. Check that video out. You're gonna see that performance if you watch that video, and I have a feeling that we're gonna get a lot better performance. Now I say better, just meaning bigger, better. It's not that this didn't perform, I wouldn't say it did perform great as a 10mm round, but I think we can do a lot better as a 400 Legend round. So a 130 grain copper hollow point, and it has little cuts in there to make it fillet open at the proper places. We packed a whole bunch of powder behind it, and this should be fun. These different rounds that we've been messing with out of this rifle have been absolutely rocking this block. So let's see if this does the same thing today. I really am interested to see what 130 grains is gonna do at the velocities that we think we're gonna get. I'm not gonna spoil it, we're just gonna see what happens. All right, no BS here. This is pretty simple. Let's take our shot. .25-23, we'll double check. .25-23, and yes, it moved things around a bit, so let's see what happened. The downward force, this gel block tends to just give itself a push all the way around. You saw that on the slow motion. So that cracked that block, that's fresh. Let's turn it around to where we think it was supposed to be. I think it was laying just like that, yep. So, like most of these hollow points in handgun form that are gonna come into this block at these kind of velocities, they're gonna do a little bit of a grenading effect. So that's what happens here. The petals, they just fly off. You have a really big permanent wound cavity going all the way to, let me get the tape. I'm gonna call it here at 15 inches. It settled maybe at 14.5 with just a tiny little bit of bounce back. Of course, opened up like it's supposed to. Now, this was different than when it came out of the handgun. When it was coming out of a 5-inch 1911 or a 3.8-inch Delta Elite, it was acting very different. It did not have this explosive entry like this, of course. I thought that today it might go a little bit farther. I thought it might shear petals off and go farther with that little copper plug, but it did not. It stopped at 15 inches, whereas out of the handguns, it didn't make it too much of a different depth than this. Now again, I'm not gonna call this ineffective. This is definitely gonna dump some energy. It's gonna drop foot-pounds into things. That's gonna put a stop to a lot of different things. Is it an ideal hunting cartridge or self-defense cartridge? I don't know. You're gonna have to be the judge for that. All right, this looks totally different than what the handgun bullet ended up looking like. So that smushed itself out pretty good. This has a lot more friction or heat doing something. This looks a lot different than what these handgun bullets ended up looking like. So this was the XDM Elite 3.8-inch, and then this was the 5-inch Delta Elite 1911. This one opened up just a hair more. You can see this is more of a cup than this one. But when you get to here, totally different. I mean, it just smushed itself through that lead to the point where it was not happy. I think it heated up a little bit. So there's what they look like. That's how much length it lost just from smushing itself. And you don't see the petals being uniformed anymore. It lost some pieces of lead back here in the initial part, I would say. Let me measure this. It lost those copper pellets at 4 inches, 4.5 inches. One's down here at 5 inches. So it lost the very tips of these petals, but then kept smushing itself back. So very interesting, very cool what it looks like. Like I said, you'll have to be the judge of what you think it's going to do on a real target. So if you're not subscribed yet, you want to subscribe, because we're going to continue with testing with this firearm. We're just going to keep sending different random rounds down range and see what they do in gel, see what kind of velocities we can get out of them, see if they're good for hunting or defense. We don't know anything about the 400 Legend except for what we're testing ourselves right now, because there's just no information out there. Hope you enjoy this kind of testing, and until we see you next time, stay safe, have fun, and keep shooting.